Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel where skincare is all about progression over perfection because perfection doesn't exist. Today I want to discuss some things that in the past have irritated my skin and pretty much rendered my skincare routine useless. I'm going to share my personal experiences in hopes that one of these things may help you in some way. Like maybe you're going through what I went through. So a few tips in case your skin is suffering and you can't figure out why. Starting with tip 1. I feel like there's a few things I always talk about on this channel when it comes to especially my easily irritated skin. But one thing I feel like I used to completely overlook, and I feel like a lot of people overlook, is skin heat. When your skin temperature rises, apparently even a few degrees, it can trigger inflammation, redness, and something that we all know as the dreaded inflammaging, where constant kind of like low-grade inflammation actually accelerates aging over time. Things like central heating, heaters, going from cold weather back into your warm home, things like boiling hot showers, you shouldn't be doing that anymore, rosacea flushing, your barrier weakens, collagen breaks down faster, and redness becomes, I guess you could say, like more persistent. And this is where cooling skincare comes in. It's about reducing inflammation to prevent long-term damage. This is where the sponsor of this segment of today's video comes in, Cell Fusion C. I've discussed them already on this channel, and this is their cooling range. And this was designed for this exact issue. They don't use menthol, so even sensitive skin gets that really nice cooling relief that really can make such a huge difference. Now, I want to talk about this one first. I actually bought this myself. They didn't send this to me. I bought this one for myself. This is the first cooling mask. So if your skin feels hot, irritated, or flushed, this cooling mask gives you an instant drop in skin temperature. And it's this really nice combination of a hydrogel coated cotton sheet mask that just clings to your face and just floods your skin with that cooling essence, with panthenol, ceramides, and that non-menthol cooling agent as well. It calms, it rehydrates, and even supports skin elasticity thanks to adenosine and hydrolyzed lupine protein. These are amazing. They are so good, but also just as good if you're not in the mood for like a full sheet mask. Their cooling pads are great if you deal with puffiness or enlarged pores. They're soaked in this glacial water and acetyl hexapeptide 8. So you're getting that really nice plump, hydrated, glowy, dewy look and feel to your skin. Just gonna pause me over there real quick. These little grooves seem like just like a nice little like design thing, you know, but they are so good, especially if you have facial hair, because it just means you can use so much more of the pad, even along my receding hairline. It fits in so well. Look at that. Again, these pads lower that skin temperature, refine pores, and prep your skin before makeup too. Another one I love recently is actually the CICA cooling pad. So if you have all the above issues I talked about, but you're also breaking out or you're inflamed or irritated, of course, CICA is going to be great for you. It uses the full Centella asiatica extract from fresh leaves, which they say means it's 4 times more soothing. I guess it's more potent, right? We also have succinic acid in here to help smooth texture without that irritation, target breakouts too, and again that non-menthol cooling agent to bring down that redness. The cooling gel cream to finish off your cooling, soothing routine. They say it's pore tightening and full of like these little like melting ceramide capsules that burst on the skin. It hydrates so nicely. It is like a gel cream, so it's watery, but not too lightweight. So we have Centella and albatrellis mushroom, I think it's pronounced in here. So it's soothing, it's moisturizing, hydrating. I just love this whole cooling line. Now, Cell Fusion C products, including these products that I mentioned in today's video, will be on sale on Amazon during Black Friday, and you can use my code here, James50, for an extra bit of discount too. I will of course link all the products I've discussed today and more details about that discount code and the sale in the description box down below. Tip number 2, bear with me whilst I try to explain this because this confused me and confused so many people when I spoke about this on TikTok. So I did start tretinoin, but I think I'm going to stop using it, but that's for another video. And of course, when I started Tret, I had to start with the Tret sandwich method. If you don't know, the sandwich method is exactly what it sounds like. You apply moisturizer, then your tretinoin, and then another layer of moisturizer over the top. And this kind of acts like the bread on either side of your active ingredient. So the whole point is to buffer your tretinoin. Tret is, of course, good for acne, texture, fine lines, but it can also be very, very irritating, very drying, and really difficult to tolerate at first. So by adding that layer of moisturizer, you're creating a like a buffer barrier. So the tret absorbs slowly and gently. And that final moisturizing layer helps lock everything in and reduce irritation overnight. It's good. It's really, really good, especially if you're just starting tret, if you've moved on to a higher strength of tret, or if your skin leans kind of like to the dry and sensitive. You'll get the benefits with fewer side effects. But I had an issue with this. Let me explain. I'd be doing my tret sandwich and I'd be very much avoiding all those sensitive areas, right? The areas you are supposed to avoid. These bits, eyelids on me, very, very easily irritated. Funny enough though, my rosacea, absolutely fine. But I avoid all of this because of how easily irritated they become. But for some reason, the next day after applying tret, avoiding those areas like the plague, my skin in those areas would still be so irritated. And the only thing I can put this down to is that first moisturizing layer of the tret sandwich was slippy, like too slippy for the tret. It's almost like it would help the tretinoin travel around my face or like slide into areas where I was trying to avoid. My eyelids got a little bit sore because I would put the moisturizer on, then the tretinoin, and then I would apply moisturizer everywhere. And I would kind of be like spreading that onto my eyelids. So that made sense. But when I stopped doing that, the eyelid pain stopped, the eyelid irritation, I should say. But the other areas still so irritated even when I avoided them on both moisturizing layers. So as I said, it almost felt like the tretinoin was allowing tret to travel. So instead of doing that first moisturizing layer of the moisturizer layer, I should say, of the tret sandwich, I would use hydrating serums. Because not only did they act like a very good buffer, again, for the tretinoin, but they kind of also supplied a grip, almost like a sticky primer. And once I switched to that method of using a hydrating serum, tretinoin, then the moisturizer, no issues whatsoever. And I'm saying this because the same thing was happening to other people, according to my TikTok comments. And now they're using tretinoin, able to avoid all their easily irritated areas without any irritation. So simply changing that first sandwich layer of the tretinoin sandwich from moisturizer to a hydrating serum just stopped all that irritation, and the areas I was trying to avoid stayed avoided. Tip number 3, something deceptively cozy. Fabric sprays and pillow mist. Listen, these are marketed as like relaxing, spa, like calming additions, right, to your nighttime routine. And I get it. I love it. I love going to bed like with this idea of like this soothing, relaxing, like smelling pillowcase. It sounds nice. And I was like trying to be really bougie and like float into my bed in this sensorial experience because I controversially love fragrance at night. Cozy sensorial experience, as I said. So I bought a linen spray, a very nice linen spray. I actually got it from Yes Style, and it has those amber kind of like suede scents that I really like and find warm and cozy. It's autumn now, you know. I was trying to, you know, Gilmore Girls in bed, you know, but I was randomly starting to get so much irritation, mainly on the side of my face where I sleep. So what did I do? I changed my pillowcase more. I stopped slugging for a little bit because I thought maybe it's transferring. I can't sleep on a silk pillowcase. It makes me feel sick. But for ages, nothing helped. I couldn't figure out what was going on. But here's the issue. I didn't realize it was that linen spray. Now, obviously, as we know, fragrance molecules and solvents don't just stay on the fabric. They can become airborne. They can transfer onto your face. And I love fragrance in my skincare. But fragrance in a room spray isn't supposed to go on your skin. It's often more like essential oils and things that I would avoid fragrance-wise in my skincare too. And there's something called quaternary ammonium compounds, which are known irritants, especially if you're sensitive. And this repeated exposure to these can cause like this low-grade irritation, but chronic irritation. Not full on like dermatitis or anything, but just this subtle, constant inflammatory cycle that keeps your skin red, dry, and more reactive. Allegedly, that's what I found out during my research. So if you already deal with flushing, rosacea, irritated skin, you're just like adding fuel to the fire, right? Every single night. And this was the only connection I can make, right? So I stopped using my linen spray. Days later, my skin started to improve. Now, you don't need to give up on a relaxing bedtime ritual. I definitely didn't. Just move it off your pillow, get it away from your pillow. I personally love a fragrance balm for the evening. I like to wear fragrance to bed sometimes because, as I said, it's just that little comforting thing, especially in the colder months, and then it could be really refreshing in the warmer months. I love the Tambourines solid balm fragrances. They last so long and you get such a good scent payoff from them, and it's almost like buildable. You can like just do a little bit, which I do, like a dot here and a dot here at night, but if I was wearing this on a night out, I'd like double up, you know, and go everywhere. One thing I love at the moment is tallow and ash. It's like laundry shampoo and conditioner, they call it, your detergent and softener, but with scents inspired by popular fragrances, and these scents last forever. It's never overpowering, and again, if you choose the right scent, it can feel really nice and luxurious. I forgot what tip we're on now, so I'm just going to say tip number 4. Here's one that I think I've mentioned a few times, and this is kind of like not one of the biggest mistakes, but I guess misdirections I found myself having to move away from in more recent years. Thinking that the answer to every bit of texture is exfoliation, and it makes sense, right? We know social media has kind of conditioned people to believe that if your skin feels rough, uneven, bumpy, or looks congested, acids are gonna fix everything, right? Shove an AHA on it. But here's what I found for me, and it's that most texture issues that I experience aren't exfoliation problems. They're kind of like inflammation problems, if that's the right term. I guess you could say that, yeah. If my skin is dehydrated, irritated, or my barrier is weakened, my skin naturally becomes rougher. I feel like the skin doesn't shed properly or do its usual turnaround. The skin becomes uneven. I feel like you could exfoliate all day and never fix the underlying cause if you're just focusing on using chemical exfoliants. And I was finding for me that when I stuck to like the recommended 3 to 4 days a week exfoliation routine that I felt conditioned to, and that I thought I had to build my way up to, my skin had increasing inflammation, easily started to get red, like for no reason, and sometimes my pores would actually look more visible. I feel like unknowingly I was trying to exfoliate away a barrier issue, and of course making things 10 times worse. The fix for me was to shift my mindset. My texture is often sold by strengthening, not stripping the skin in any way. So before reaching for the acids, if I look at my skin and I'm like, what's going on? I ask myself, is my skin dehydrated? Am I using too many actives or too many new products? And is my barrier compromised? Often swapping exfoliation for a few weeks of barrier support clears texture faster than any acid. And I think we're seeing a rise, especially on TikTok, of people being like, I barely even exfoliate anymore. And honestly, I barely ever do. I, of course, mentioned before that I use very gentle BHAs and AHAs, but also I go for barrier improving, inflammation reducing ingredients like niacinamide. I really like that for my skin. It's actually a barrier healing ingredient. A lot of people think it's an irritant. There's no actual scientific evidence that is an irritant. Panthenol, beta-glucan, centella asiatica, of course, and ceramides, cholesterol, fatty acids, and even azelaic acid I use if I feel that I want something that smooths without stripping the skin. These ingredients rebuild the skin so texture improves. And that's not to say I don't use chemical exfoliants anymore. I definitely do. But once my barrier is like back on track, then I reintroduce exfoliation in a much more balanced way, low and slow kind of way, usually once or twice a week. And honestly, my skin's never been smoother. I don't think, I can't even remember the last time I purposely exfoliated. I'm not saying you don't need to exfoliate, but I've just cut it right back. So I hope these tips may help you in some way. I always feel like when I realize what's going on, I have like these eureka moments that I'm like, I need to tell everyone about this, because there's just these like underlying, really non-serious things that could be affecting your skincare routine beyond touching your face too much, having hot showers, pressing your phone against your face, changing your pillowcase. You know, there are other things that I think modern day life does to our skin. But let me know if any of these potentially might help you in some way in the comments down below, and hopefully I'll see you next time.